I've kind of got a couple of stories tonight, but I'm going to start kind of on my first bit, which is about kind of bars and clubs, as I'm not used to either bar or club. But it was a while back, my first story, where it was in a nice, well, I say nice, it was a weird kind of pub in up Sucky Hall Streetway. I was there, we were celebrating one of my mates' birthdays and all that, and halfway through the night I kind of said to him, I was like, I need to go to the loo. So I said to him, I was like, here, is there any loos in here? And yeah, it's down the stairs. And as I went down the stairs, I get to the gents, and as I open the door, the first thing I'm greeted with is all graffiti on all the walls, but on the mirror standing directly in front of me, it says, what do you call it? It just had 4 words. It just says, watch out for David. And you read it and you kind of go, question 1, who the fuck is David? Question 2, why do I need to be careful of David? So I hid myself in the cubicle to the side. And next thing I hear the door slam open, and I heard voices going, nah, and then just slowly closing it. And as I was sat in that cubicle, it then hit me that there's 3 things that's happened here. 1, that's David, and I'm not good enough for David. 2, the other thing is, it's either some guy who's walked in, saw the watch out for David sign and gone, nah. Or 3, some guy's walked in, seen the watch out for David sign, looked at the cubicle and seen someone, and now they think I'm David, hiding, waiting like a fucking predator to get the jump. And the little guys, sadly, came round. And in that sense, I was like, Jesus Christ, there's so many ways this can go. And not only that, but even to get, then I started thinking, for David to be a problem in these toilets, to get, from most pubs to the toilets, it's like a fucking, lab rat science maze, where you have to run down, and then it's like Takeshi's Castle, where it's all these fucking doors, and you have to pick the right door to get in to another corridor, which then has a 4th fucking door to get into the actual toilet. And then I realised, a pub is where you get pished. So you get down there and it's like, thank fuck. But then in your brain it clicks, you have to do all that shit in reverse just to get back up. And I was like, this is an awful lot of work for some fucking guy called David to be sat in a toilet all night being like, here we go. And yeah, and another story I had quite recently was I was on a night out and we were in another pub and it was quite loud music. And I just said to everyone, I was like, I'm just going to go outside, have a little breath of fresh air. And I went outside and I sat down and I see this guy who just kind of stands next to me and just starts vaping in front of me. And I kind of sat there, looked at him, and I looked to my left and realised I'd sat in the smoking zone. And I said to him, I was like, look mate, I'm sorry, if you want me to, head back in so you could sit down and smoke. He's like, no mate, it's fine. I was like, okay, cool. And he's like, what's your name? And I was like, well, I'm Ewan, because I realised I somehow have a weird thing that if anyone was to ask me who I am, even if you're the strangest person on earth, I'm like, well, I'm Ewan, nice to meet you. I will introduce myself to anyone. And he went, alright, nice, I'm Mark. And I was like, cool, nice Mark. And then the next phrase he said was, and this is my gang. And 2 other guys walked out. And his dad said to him, oh, fuck, right, okay, cool. And he goes, this is Joe, and that's Tim. And he goes, how's it going, Tim? And Tim went, oh, the missus, she wants me back in. And I went, that's cool, what about you, Joe? And Joe went, I hate my life. And I went, classic Joe. And that was all I fucking heard from Joe. It was just, I was so fucking sad. And I remember sitting there, and they all start chatting to me, and I get chatting and all that. I forget that my actual friend group, who's now inside the bar thinking I've left for the past 10 minutes, people have now came out looking for me. And one of the guys goes, oh, you're right? And I go, yeah. I go, this is Joe, Tim and Mark. And they go, how do you know their names? And I was like, well, it's easy. Joe hates his life, Tim hates his wife, and Mark is Mark. And I was like, that's how I remember them. And even to today, they're still like, how do you remember it? And it's like, well, I've got the poem. I got the poem knocked down, and I can tell you instantly about any of them. But they left. They didn't tell me where they were going, they just left. I was giving them goodbyes and all that. Anyway, my friend group, we move on to Bamboo in town. And as we go, we get to the line of Bamboo, and an arm comes out and he stops me. And I was like, fuck, I'm getting jumped. right? And a guy goes, "Oh, it's Ewan." And it turns out it was fucking Mark. And all of them had decided to go to Bamboo. And that way, I'm staring at them and I stopped them being like, "Here's my new friends, guys. This is my old friends, new friends. There's Mark, Tim and Joe." And they're like, "How do you know them?" And I was like, "Well, it's funny, but I'll tell you later." And I just remember the 3 guys who I knew from like 2 character traits between the 3 of them. And they were my new friends, so thank you very much.